Welcome to This Explainer. You know, for millennia, humanity has just looked up at the night sky with this profound sense of wonder. We explored our own world, we mapped its continents, and eventually we realized that our Earth is a finite place. But space? Well, space has always felt like this infinite, boundless void of pure scientific curiosity. Actually, though, that view is rapidly shifting. Today, we're taking our nation-states, our massive corporations, and yes, even our political conflicts, way up above us. Space is no longer just a beautiful backdrop for exploration. It's actually becoming a finite, highly structured geographic arena. Which leads us to a pretty chilling but absolutely necessary question. Does humanity's next geopolitical battlefield lie beyond Earth? Okay, let's really dive into this, because understanding exactly how power and politics in space will change our world is absolutely vital. The big challenge of the 21st century isn't just about reaching the stars anymore. It's about who actually controls the pathways to get there and what happens when they finally do.
Chapter 1: The Path to the Stars.
So, for centuries, our ancestors looked up and basically saw myths and gods. But the scientific revolution, that changed the whole shebang. Around 100 CE, Ptolemy mapped out the constellations, even though he still firmly believed Earth was the center of everything. Then, in 1543, Copernicus fundamentally flipped the script by suggesting, hey, Earth actually orbits the sun. Galileo followed that right up by using the telescope to literally prove it, which, by the way, nearly cost him his life. And finally, in 1687, Isaac Newton defined universal gravity. That was the huge realization that the exact same invisible force making an apple fall to the ground is what keeps the planets circling the sun. This massive intellectual revolution really set the groundwork for everything that came next.
Chapter 2: The First Space Race. Now, while science definitely gave us the equations, it was purely geopolitical rivalry that actually pushed us off the planet. The space age was born not from some noble, unified desire to explore, but from the highly militarized, tense reality of the Cold War. Picture this. It's October 1957, and amateur radio enthusiasts suddenly hear this repeating beep, beep, beep coming from above. It was Sputnik 1, the Soviet Union's very first man-made satellite. It was barely bigger than a beach ball, but its impact was absolutely seismic. It shifted the entire balance of military power and global psychology practically overnight. The terrifying idea that a geopolitical rival was suddenly hovering right overhead ignited unprecedented US spending. To put that into perspective, their space budget jumped from about $89 million a year to over $400 million in just 2 years. And that intense rivalry climaxed in July of 1969 with the Apollo 11 moon landing. The US achieved a monumental geopolitical victory here. The space race was essentially a major, highly visible battle in the long decades of the Cold War, and actually putting a human on the moon delivered a massive psychological blow. People often say the Cold War was won without a shot being fired, but the moon shot, that played a totally definitive role.
Chapter 3: The Geography of Space.
So, outer space is not just some featureless void. The zone immediately surrounding Earth is actually divided up into low, mid, and high Earth orbits. Low Earth orbit, which is just a few hundred kilometers up, is where the vast majority of our satellites operate today. And without those satellites, our international communications networks and our GPS simply would not exist. It is an incredibly crowded, highly strategic zone that's absolutely crucial to keeping modern civilization running.
So here is the really crucial point to take away from all this. Low Earth orbit is a strategic choke point. Think of it exactly like the Suez Canal or the Strait of Hormuz here on Earth. It's this incredibly narrow pathway where traffic is super heavy. If any spacefaring nation wants to access the wider ocean of the cosmos, they first have to navigate and completely secure their presence in this vital, narrow band right around our planet.
And why does controlling this matter so much? £1 billion. That is the estimated daily loss to the UK economy alone if their satellite networks were to be jammed, spoofed, or destroyed. Just think about that. Our grocery deliveries, our emergency services, global shipping, it's all tied to this fragile technology just hovering up there in low Earth orbit. The sheer economic vulnerability we're dealing with is staggering.
Now, if we look further out from Earth, we find other fascinating geographical features, like Lagrange points. You can basically think of these as strategic car parks in space, because the gravitational pull of the Earth and the Moon balance out perfectly at these very specific locations. A spacecraft can essentially just hover there while using barely any fuel at all. They're like the deep water ports of space, highly, highly coveted staging areas for future commercial and military operations.
Chapter 4: Ambitions of the Big Three.
Okay, now that we understand the actual geography of space, who is fighting for it? We are seeing a massive, shifting balance of power underway right now. On one hand, we have the aging International Space Station, which has long been this great symbol of post-Cold War cooperation. But on the other hand, we see China's newly deployed Tiangong Space Station. As the ISS approaches the end of its life cycle, China is actively asserting its own independent, very robust presence in low Earth orbit, and it's signaling a huge geopolitical transition.
Let's look a bit closer at China's strategy. Their program is characterized by incredible clarity of purpose, and it's heavily integrated with their military, the People's Liberation Army. Driven by a techno-nationalist approach to modernization, China's official space stream includes ambitious plans to launch over 1,000 satellites in the next decade, push into deep space exploration, and develop reusable space planes like the elusive Divine Dragon. They are pouring massive infrastructure investments into space to ensure they secure a leading role in the cosmos. Over in the United States, they're matching this pace, but with a totally different structural approach. In 2019, the US officially established the Space Force, explicitly defining their mission to protect American interests out to 272,000 miles, which, by the way, encompasses the moon, and even beyond. But what really sets the US apart today is its heavy reliance on the commercial space age. Private companies like SpaceX are the ones driving the innovation. We actually saw the tactical military value of this commercial power recently when SpaceX's Starlink terminals were deployed to maintain vital on-the-ground communications during the Ukraine conflict. And finally, we have Russia. While they achieved so many of those stunning firsts back in the Soviet era, their modern program is increasingly focused on asymmetric defense and anti-satellite countermeasures. For instance, they have the Kalina project. This is a ground-based laser system specifically designed to dazzle or outright blind observation satellites as they pass overhead in low Earth orbit. It's a very clear reminder that space capabilities are now deeply, deeply intertwined with modern warfare.
Chapter 5: The Lunar Competition. So this new space race has formed two distinct, competing global alliances, and they are both racing straight for the moon. First, we've got the Artemis Accords. This is led by the USA, partnering with the European Space Agency and various allies, and they're targeting a human return this very decade. Then we have the International Lunar Research Station. This is a joint venture led by China and Russia, and they're aiming for a fully habitable base by the mid-2030s. The geopolitical dividing lines of Earth are quite literally being drawn all over the lunar surface. But you might be wondering, why go back to the moon at all? Well, it's all about resources. Right now, there is a massive scramble to secure non-renewable resources, specifically ice water and rare earth metals that are hidden in the permanently shadowed craters of the moon's south pole. Water is incredibly crucial here because it can be broken down into hydrogen and oxygen. Put simply, that's rocket fuel. So the moon isn't just a final destination, it's the ultimate refueling station and launch pad for missions going much deeper into the solar system. Chapter 6: Humanity's Next Battlefield. So if space is absolutely packed with valuable resources and critical strategic choke points, what are the rules of the game? Well, the terrifying truth is that our technology and our military ambitions have vastly outpaced international law. The treaties we currently have in place are noble, sure, but they're largely outdated and pretty much unenforceable. We've already seen nations conduct anti-satellite, or ASAT, weapons tests, purposely blowing up their own satellites and creating these incredibly hazardous fields of fast-moving debris. Because modern warfare, and really our daily lives, rely so heavily on these vulnerable satellite networks, this lack of regulation has created a literal jungle of astropolitics. As of right now, there are absolutely no comprehensive global disaster plans for space. I want to share a quote with you from astropolitics expert Professor Everett Dolman, because it just perfectly summarizes the ultimate geopolitical stakes we're dealing with here. He said, "Who controls low Earth orbit controls near-Earth space. Who controls near-Earth space dominates Terra. Who dominates Terra determines the destiny of humankind." That is exactly what is on the table right now. So we really stand at a crossroads. As we evolve into what we might playfully call Homo Spacians, we have to ask ourselves, will our future in space unite humanity and shared discovery, protecting our planet against asteroids and mapping the cosmos together? Or will this critical lack of laws and the rapid hardening of military postures just tear us apart in a brand new theater of war? It's a pretty profound question to leave you with today. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and remember, keep looking up.